seagulls follow the chart, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
And as we say now in my country, they brought the buzz and they left the buzz in front of the goal.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes! Here we go. I'll get the timing of that right eventually. Good evening. Welcome to the T.N.F. It's a bit of a Bustalgia-esque crowd tonight. But just as I say that, we do have a fourth member joining. Connor Carr is with us.
Yes. Good evening.
Connor, I must have the wrong email address for you, son.
That's all right.
I've got no idea of why you've given me the wrong email address, to be fair. Wrong mic. There we go. Should his sound better now?
Yeah,
mate.
Well, I just changed mic. Is it better? Sound better? What's happening, everyone? It's Thursday night. It's the T.N.F. It's the night where we hand over the keys to yous. And tonight we are joined by Liam, the punked up warlord, all the way from Canada, as always, looking a wee bit horny. And that's what we like to see. Connor joins us at the last minute. I don't know what email I'm sending to you, pal. I'm sorry about that, but I sent them. I thought it was all organised. I sent them an hour ago. I was like, I'm right on the ball tonight.
I was sitting there at like 9 o'clock. I'm like, is he late again?
But anyway, who cares? Phil McGinley joins us as well. A last minute call up to the team. The judge did suggest he was off this week and he might have a wee drink today. I sent him the link just in case. But it looks like Mark has done the sensible thing and decided to get right on it on his holidays, and I'd see no problem with that. So fair play. Enjoy your night off, Judge Kearney. Right, okay. Tonight's the night we build up to the game on Saturday. What time is it? I thought it was high noon. Is it 12:30 kickoff?
12:30.
12:30.
Bastard. I've said a week it was 12. Yeah, I'd be wrong. But anyway, who cares? It is creeping around the corner. Liam, this is the hype week. This is the week I just think things get a wee bit more exciting. And before I go into that, I better do all that good stuff. Like, share, slag my hair, subscribe, become a member, buy pies for piesports.com, put bus 1888 in it, and don't buy a shirt because
you can't.
The order's been placed. You can't now. Liam, back to the patter. Alan Wood says no judge again. Look, Mark will love the fact you're all missing him. Trust me. I know him. He'll be loving the fact of missing him. He's not gone anywhere. He's been on his holidays this week. He was going to come on, and he's waiting for a bevy. Stay calm, Alan. He will be back. Right, okay, Liam. As I say, this week, the hype week. I like to call this week the week my clock just gets a bit louder. All I can hear in the distance, tick tock, tick tock. And now I've got to be honest. I've suggested a few times the last couple of games TikTok was going to lead to a pummeling. It's not. This time, I am right. It's definitely coming, I think. I think this weekend is the weekend they get the hiding that they are due. What say you?
I like to make a bold prediction. I've been out there in a few of them. I mean, every time we play them, I'm always 3-4-0. You know, I think we owe them another good scudding again. And I think that's how I'd like to see an Ange team react to all the talk, all the chatter. I mean, every time there's a lead up to the game, all of a sudden, they've improved so much. And yet they've not went anywhere. In fact, they lost the last game they played to us. And they've let less goals than us. And so, no, I don't think they've made this massive improvement that all of a sudden this gap is somehow smaller than we think it is, because in reality, it's actually bigger. And so I think this weekend, yeah, I'd like to see another 3 or 4-0. I think they're going to be in a very noisy, boisterous stadium with all those good teams celebrating Easter weekend, you know, knowing that they've got absolutely no fans in the stadium, and knowing that when we show up to their place, chances are, you know, if we do the same, it will be half full, but our place will be rocking on Saturday. And so I'm looking forward to it. That's a 4:30 a.m. game for me, and I love them. I can't wait to set my alarm clock and get up for it. I live for these. I plan my week around it, you know.
Liam, do you set your alarm for it? I mean, I still think you've got the party animal instinct in you to be tempted. I'm not saying you do, but I think there's a wee bit of you that's tempted sometimes when you go, 4:30? Is it that far away?
I'd be lying if I said I didn't do that. My boy works late night. He gets home at 3, so sometimes I stay up with him and have a beer back in the house and try to see if I can get him to come with me, you know.
Brilliant, mate. That's brilliant. Connor, this is a week where we've enjoyed doing all the hype and all that, but you are kind of a Rangers correspondent in the old WhatsApp group chat. It's never positive feedback that you're giving it, but you tend to keep us in the loop if they've messed up any time. You seem to let put us straight. And I would just like to say as well, I really love your cowboy hat collection. You must suit them, mate.
I mean, I've got to cover up the bald spot somehow. So
is that how you go? I'm just looking at those hats behind you thinking, which one does he wear? What's your favourite one, mate?
they're not mine, but no.
Aye.
I'm at my girlfriend's house this week, but no. I'm not even going to slag country music. Before I got there, I was like, don't know if country's my hang. Went to a country music festival like last month, and I fucking loved it. So I'm not slagging it ever again. I had a brilliant time.
Well,
but
quite right.
But
anyway, I'll go back to my point I was going to make to you. So, like I say, you like to have your wee eye on what's going on. You kind of keep us in the loop in the WhatsApp group chat, usually with a few defamatory words and all that, and that's all good. I like all that pattern. In the group chat privately, don't sue us. But obviously, Connor, has there been any more developments over there? You know, I know this week started a bit rocky for them. Has there been any further news tonight that could upset the apple cart any more than, or the orange cart, you could say, any more than it already has been?
funny you mention it. There actually is. Apparently, this is coming through all the Rangers accounts and that, the ones that pay for the wee blue ticks next to them and that, because then can make them look official and well put together. Apparently, Morelos is surplus to requirements, and that he is not in Rangers' plans for the future, and he is was it they put in the cap in the quotes, he's gone. And I'm like, where's he gone? Is he going to McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut? I don't know. So putting out statements like that, especially before a game of this magnitude, with what it means, clearly must just show how things are over in their camp. I think things are brewing, certainly underneath the the surface, you know, but they've got, you know, stories coming out about their accounts, hundreds and millions of shares, their chairman leaving. There's stories there, and there's something going to come out about all this, and if you're paying attention, I think it's going to be quite substantial, you know. But no, it's not looking good for them. So I don't know if they're going to start Morelos against us, or if it's going to be Cholak, because if they do start Morelos against us, and they've said nah, we're no interested in him, he's done here. Then that's not the best mindset to put your players in before playing us at Celtic Park in a massive game where they're going to have no backing. Every time, honestly, I want every single time one of their players touches the ball, I want it to be absolutely poisonous. I want it to be an absolute hate-filled fucking honking atmosphere for them every time they touch a ball, and every time I want our players touching a ball, I want us to shook it into the net, which with a noise.
I know you stole that from someone. That's Ben Foster. That you stole that from Ben Foster. Am I right? The goalkeeper.
Oh no, I've seen that.
That's what he
all the
said.
papers and the clip that came out 6 months ago in the Daily Record just managed to get a hold of it. You know, well done in your award-winning journalism, guys.
I know. So, Connor, just very quickly on that, the reason I wasn't wanting you to just come on and talk about Rangers, that was me teeing you up. Normally, there's feed good stories for them, feel bad stories, if you like, about Celtic in this sort of week build-up. Mm-hmm. If that's the best they've got to put a positive spin, like we've took control over the Morelos situation again, where he's got about 2 minutes of his contract to go, it's not really that feel-good a story. It does suggest, like you're saying, that this time around, the media, everyone, are running out of ways to try and spin it the way they can to make this feel like we go into this game somehow, A, as underdogs, usually the team under all the pressure, and 3, probably in some sort of crisis. It's none of those stories seem to have grown any arms or legs, Connor. So this time, it actually leads pretty well for us, doesn't it? That the best they could come up with is that.
Aye, it's because it's weird. It's always the two teams are on an even keel. They're both as good as each other. Blah blah blah. Oh, Beale's got Angie's number and all that shite, despite the fact he's played us twice and failed to beat us in both attempts. But I mean, it's not even just that. I think Connor Goldson's also came out and saying that like he wishes he's done more in a Rangers shirt. He feels he should have won more. He feels he's not accomplished as much in a Rangers shirt. And you're like, now this could all be speedy media like stirring the pot and whatever, because if they somehow beat us, they've overcame mental adversity or whatever the fuck. If your players are going into that with a mental attitude, because they always, I don't know why, they always think they can come into these games and get the better of us, you know. But no, it's mad. But you know, we don't have as many, I'd say, negative stories going into it as what we usually do. There's a couple here and there, but it's very weird this time around. And to me, it's more the media and that mob as well, kind of accepting the inevitable almost. As in,
I know what you mean.
We're going to just take it on the chin. And we'll get to, it'll be a lot less painful if we just lie down and take it, as opposed to if we get our hopes up and then, get absolutely crushed like we tend to usually do. So,
Phil, it is looking that way. I know what you're saying, Connor. I think the narrative that I forecasted would be spun this week. I expected stronger links to Chelsea and Leicester jobs for Ange Postecoglou. I mean, don't get me wrong, Frank Lampard is actually getting the Chelsea job as kind of brought back my belief that I could still make it as a football manager. And I don't mean, I mean, wow. If they're not looking at Ange, that's a good thing for us. And that's one of the jobs out the way. I expected there to be a lot more mischief making in the ranks. It feels like Celtic's only strife is whether to play the J-League Player of the Year last year, Scotland's potential Player of the Year this year in Atati, whether to play Matt O'Reilly, who started both the big cuffings we've handed out to Rangers. He started both of them.
Yes, yep.
Or, you look at it, or Aaron Moy, of course, World Player of the Year. You've got the Ballon d'Or winner made out in the summer. I mean, if that's as bad as it gets for us and as good as it gets for them is we've took back the reins on the Morelos saga, whose place would you rather be in right now?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say Ange has what's called first world problems. Essentially, he's in a very good position, and it's the old cliche about it's good headaches to have. Yeah, you'd much rather be in our position right now. Yeah, I'm surprised, same as yourself. I was expecting a bit more from the media shitstorers, but no, it's been relatively straightforward stuff all week, given what we've been accustomed to over the years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it on Saturday. And regarding the injury headlines that they're putting out there, again, I think Ange is still to do his press conference for the week. Has he does that on a Friday, I believe, or has he done one today? Or because I was in the office today, so I missed all the sort of chat online essentially. So I have no idea if he did a presser. But I still wouldn't rule it out that all this talk about Hatate and Taylor is all cut and dry. They'll definitely be missing. So we've seen it over the years from both sides of the divide. There's always the whole, this guy's not going to make it. There's going to be a late fitness test, and then miraculously said player passes the fitness test and is playing. So when it comes to this fixture, I never ever take any of the headlines seriously till the team sheets come out. So yeah,
Jink as well, Phil. Jink Phil that Ange kind of likes it that way as well. I've noticed him. I think he works in mysterious ways with the media at times when it comes to player selection and availability. Phil, I think the fact we as Celtic fans, the same fans as the team he's managing, the fact he likes to keep us on, sort of tenterhooks, I think that tells him, he goes, if they don't know what I'm going to do, nobody else definitely does. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's all part of his game in these weeks, but he doesn't need to talk for 10, 15 minute spells let's be honest, like Mickey Beale and myself like to do. But he doesn't like to do it. He's so subtle the way he does it, but he does keep you guessing. Whilst us as fans are allowed to speculate because we're excited about seeing how Ange, overcomes if there are injury hurdles, the rest of the media are baying for, we can now confirm exclusively that Hatate's out, X, Y, and Z's out. That's what they want. And they don't really want to put themselves in that position when they're dealing with Ange because he just doesn't give enough away for them to be able to rubber stamp those sort of absences. That's good for us, isn't it?
Aye, because newspapers and media and that, they need headlines ultimately to sell their papers. As you say, for us, we can guess and speculate and all that, but they need concrete evidence to make it, and all they're reduced to now is just guesswork, essentially. And I think Ange just loves leading them up the garden path, essentially, just lead them on a merry dance. I think he thoroughly enjoys it, all part of his demeanour and his mind games and so on. So he's shown since day one in here, he's not got much time for talking to the media. He's made it very clear that he's much a training ground manager. It always feels like when he has to actually talk to the media, it feels like it's I need to do it, unfortunately.
Do you believe that, Phil?
I think there's a
it's all part of his media. That's his media side. That's part of it. It's all part of it.
Is it the Andy Murray approach? Because Andy Murray's got a bit of that about him, where it's a bit like, I'll just kind of make it like I can't really be bothered here. But I do think, preferably though, you would rather be in the training ground every day. It is still like, I have to. Well, if I'm going to go and talk, I'm going to have a bit of fun with this one, essentially.
Well, Liam, I think, in my opinion, Ange is thriving in that element of the job. I think the media stuff, part of it is the faux personality he puts out is the cough, the can't be bothered talking to you thing. But it's read between the lines of them and leave them all completely. He's got them all tied up knots, let's be honest. But I'll get your takes on that, Liam, first and foremost, then I'll come to you for the first point of the forum as well.
Aye, so listen, I think Ange is probably the most media savvy manager we've had since O'Neill. I think the way he approaches the media is, the way he sells Celtic to the players. This is a big stage. I like when you see Ange going on in the media, even that bit where he was laughing with McCoist and Sutton and that after one of the games, where it was like asking Ali if he was going to drive him back to, I think it was after we won the cup, asking Ali if he was going to drive him back to the stadium or to the airport or whatever it was at that point. You could just see like, very much a character. He's got a good sense to him. He can take a slagging and he looks like he could give out a slagging. Looks like one of the guys that'd be right cheeky in the change room if you were playing with him or that. And and so when he's among men like that, you see him, he's got a presence. And I think the press conferences, being at Celtic, having all the media attention and focus on a big game. These are big games. Doesn't matter where we are in the league. These are always big games. And so he gets to go up there and, just throw out a wee couple of one-liners here and there, a couple of angisms. And, he does it so much better than like Gordon Strachan does it, whereas Gordon looks like he's trying for attention. Whereas Ange, it seems to be part of the Ange character and that. And I don't think there's many people that can dislike Ange now. Or, there's always people on the other side that will dislike him for who he is and what we represent. But my God, no, I like him. I like having him as our manager, and I look forward to his press conferences because he does. He's graceful to people that are sincere and asking legitimate questions, and he shuts down the bloody, the numpties right away. Just clamps them, And so I like that about him. And I'm looking forward to his conference tomorrow. See what he talks about.
Aye. Well, we'll go into the forum and we'll bring in one of the bus's favourite sons, Monty, is in the chat. Hope you're good, Monty, and it's great to have your comments coming up in the forum, and not often I can share them on the screen, so it's a pleasure to have one up that only calls them animals tonight. That's fantastic, Monty. Cheers for that, mate. So it was a pleasure to bring one of them up. Liam, I'll just come straight back to you, mate. I'll bounce this one right back like an Andy Murray backhand. I don't know why we're talking about Andy Murray tonight. Who knows? I think we should also remember this will be a tough game. These animals have one last chance to get into a title fight. Let's not dismiss them. Let's start the game in the front foot. Liam, I'll give you my take on it first very briefly. For me, I think it's our right as fans not to have the same attitude going into games as players. I'm not quite sure I subscribe to Russell Bhoycie is really confident or Monty's really confident, and that'll impact remotely how complacent or not remotely complacent a Rio Itati or a Jota would be. I don't think it's on their radar. We're allowed to have these sort of far-reached sort of opinions and maybe a wee bit over-exaggerated at times and maybe a wee bit hyper. Why not? But obviously, from the squad's point of view, Monty seems to think that, this still will be a tough game, and he's suggesting that if Rangers were to get a result, that could open the door slightly on a title race. We'll just sit on that. I'm not convinced. I kind of subscribe to what was getting said earlier, that I think they're going into this one, like Connor's saying, I think the reason it's not been ramped up in the build-up to this game is there's almost a general acceptance when the media have accepted it that this ain't going to make any odds anyway. I think this could be a containment job that we try and see attempted by them.
Well, I mean, it's a good motivational tool for them to get pumped up about this game. That this is a chance to salvage something, to look good in front of the fans, to build for next year. They're going to have to come out flying to try and silence us because we're going to be noisy, and I think we're going to be up for that. I think when we come out, I don't want us to sit back and let them put pressure on us. I think we're going to have to come out and just attack them from the very beginning. And if they try to open up and attack us, I think we'll tear them apart. I can see us, if we get a quick goal, they are absolutely done. And I think they know it. They'll have nothing at that point, and especially with the crowd, we just keep piling on the pressure on them. I think our game plan has to be come out and play, start the first minute, at 100%. I think that's part of Ange's philosophy, how the team responds after goals, that sort of things. He looks for lulls. He looks for where he can take advantage of them at any moment in the 90 minutes. No, just let's take the first 10 minutes, just get our feet wet. No, I think we'll come out flying, and I think we will have tactics, and I will think we'll have a game plan to sort of put them under pressure right from the beginning.
Definitely. Connor, the thing is with what Monty's saying, he is trying to be measured in his approach with that it could be a tough game. There's a couple of aspects about it, though, that I kind of agree with what you were saying earlier, like I've just said about the title race. I think this is a case of them going, come out of here with it. If they were to come out with a draw, it's loads of hope for next season. Loads of belief that the gap, we told you the gap wasn't as big. Now, notice the word the gap. That phrase, the gap, is now getting used by the team in second place's supporters and not us anymore. We never talk about the gap. I think we were guilty of that 9 in a row. I think that we always used to speak, see when they came back up to the league, I think it was a Celtic thing talking about the gap's so big between us. And that became a phrase that was getting used all the time. It's crept back in, but not by us. if the second place team is, main goal, Connor, is to close said gap, which I think it is. I don't think it brings them into a title fight. But what do you think? Do you agree with Monty that if they were to get a result, and I know that'll be, you'll come out in a rash even discussing that possibility, Connor, but if that were to happen, do you think it opens the door to a title fight?
I mean, not necessarily when you put into the context that we still have another game against them, so that lead could easily be further increased again. Also, the fact that they would also then require the other teams in the league to take points off us, which them and St Mirren are the only two teams to do that. And I think we all agreed St Mirren was just an off day, was just an absolute blip on the radar. It wasn't nothing, that we should, be accustomed to. No, I don't really see them putting together a title charge or whatever, because they're looking at the gap, they're looking at it in black and white, and they're looking at it by numbers, by the points gap, saying, if we did this and we did this, and then they lost points there, blah blah blah, then they could mount that title challenge. I'm more looking at the gap, not in the terms of points, but even though that's what you win the league by, but in the terms of the style of football and the calibre of players that we have. They ain't got a patch on us in that area. Not a chance. Their football is absolutely dire. It is shit, one-dimensional, hoofball, the fucking crossing balls in, set pieces. Think about it. How many times have we played them recently and they've just absolutely cut us open and pumped us? I wouldn't say any. It's all been set pieces and Route 1 football. It's not good on the eye. It's not attractive. It's not the kind of football that young.
No one cares in this fiction though about the style of football. Really, you've got to win. That's surely what it boils down to. Because sometimes we've also said, Connor, just to push back a wee bit, we've literally spoke about we've been okay in the last two. I thought Ibrox we started well, and then we faded for the majority of that game. I didn't care. As long as we got a draw that day, I was happy. So, sometimes the performance goes out the window. And if you're not at the level of Celtic, which I agree with you, they're not, then any means necessary. That's kind of fair to me to take that approach.
Oh, no, I know by any means necessary they want to win, and I'd be the same as well. I wouldn't. If you offered me right now a scrappy 1-0 win,
you'd take it.
Yeah, I'd bite your hand off. But I feel like under Ange we're a bit more than that. We're more than just the do or die. Just I think for a fact that the Orcs across the city will be sharpening their studs for Saturday. Because they'll no doubt in the midfield they'll have Tillman, Cantwell. And whatever fucking hammer thrower journeyman they put in the midfield, whether it's Lundstrom or Jack, to just put in the crimson tackles and try and stop us getting our momentum, and if they can win that way, then by all means give a bit of credit to them. But no, I don't think they've got a patch on us, and even if they manage to get a result, if it's a draw, it still means absolutely nothing. We're still going to win the league at a canter. If they win, we're still going to win the league at a canter, I reckon. And obviously, if we win, titles in the bag, final nail in the coffin, a bit of jelly and ice cream. Bob's
Good patter, Connor, mate. I love it. Phil, we're going to move on to another comment. This one's kind of combined by a few of the live chats that I've seen coming in that I've been trying to start along the way, and it just goes to show how many people sort of get the sort of same mindset, if that makes sense. In the lead up, or the same sort of vibe. Yep. Fearless Celts comes in. Brilliant to have you on the bus, Fearless Celts. I think this was the first one I've seen along this line. And he was... Oh, no, it's not. The first one he brought up was, will the big man make an impact on Saturday? And that was really early on in the discussion. He posted that. Is then, about 20 minutes later, kind of doubled down on it, saying, if Attack isn't fit, this is sort of quantifying maybe the inclusion of to have an impact. He says he would love to see Kyogo just dropping into that number 10 role. Just shove up top and attack them. Immediately keep Tav pinned quietly. And there was someone else, also Stubbsy Saucewood came in as well, calling us the panel again.
Panel.
I might get panelled, mate, but I didn't. We are not a panel. Looking at the way All brought that ball under control from Hearts, Blether, should we be using Route 1 on more occasions? And I think, again, that ties in with this sort of feeling that I think O's contribution, I think the international goal, even though it was disallowed, I think folks seen it and went, okay, not just myself. I just think that when videos like that go viral, and he didn't know there was an offside in there at all, and you've seen the reaction of the commentators, they were going apoplectic, whatever that word is. I just tried to throw something in there, right? And all the fans going Raj, and then he came back and he looked really good recently for us. I wonder if there's a bit of a now, there's going to come that sort of clamour like we got for the Giakoumakis to start against Rangers sort of thing. And by the way, see the one thing you could say about O, if O is this upgrade on chaos, right? But Giakoumakis, up until the League Cup final, had been, for me, far more effective against basically the same Rangers team, because they don't change it much, do they?
Yeah.
He'd been far more effective than Kyogo had in the previous 18 months. So there is an argument to suggest a similar type player, and if everyone thinks he's an upgrade, even more so. And whilst there is also that room, maybe if there is this injury to Atati, potentially Moy isn't fully fit, would that be something you would consider? Put Kyogo a wee bit deeper. We've seen him drop deep before, and just go for the start.
We did that against Hibs recently. I want to say there was a game recently at Celtic Park where O came on and Kyogo stayed on the park and just sort of dropped behind him. I want to say it was either Hibs or Hearts, one of the games recently at Celtic Park. We were losing early on. I think it was Hibs. That's what I think it was. I think it was a Hibs game. So he has done it recently, but again, I think that was circumstances dictated it, because we were kind of struggling in the game and he just decided to give it a try. There's a few points there that were brought up about O. So the first one about the Route 1 football and so on. Well, he's in a similar mold to Giakoumakis, but I don't think when it comes to Route 1 football, what comes to your mind? You think long balls, big diagonals, like what Connor just described about Rangers and their hoofball. I think even when Giakoumakis played for us, we never went to that sort of style. We still stuck to our guns, and I think O's got some serious technique. I don't think, just because he's a bit of a physical force, I don't think we need to resort to changing the game plan. I think he can, strap in pretty well and really.
If Kyogo's playing if he's playing that number 10 role though, you would guess it's going to be slightly further forward than if it were an O'Reilly or Rogic in the past. I would imagine he'd be slightly base more forward, just because that's just naturally what he'd do. Is that what he's maybe getting at? Then you might end up just finding you would see more long ball sort of play, just by definition that there's two guys further up the park. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if you're crossing the ball into the box, then you've got a better target man to hit at least, because we do still play that, even under Ange's style. We do like to get a ball into the box, whether it's along the ground or, of course, in the air. So I suppose O would be a better aerial threat. And as for the point of making an impact, I mean, does it count as an impact if we're already 5-0 up and he comes on and scores? Is that counting as an impact? Because the whole impact thing would be, for me, would be we're still quite tight in the game, and he gets a sort of defining moment type goal. I get a funny feeling that Kyogo will start and O will come on probably. Maybe as I say, I obviously said 5-0 there. Maybe I hope it is 5-0. To be fair, I hope it is. But no, if we're maybe like 2 up or something like that, I think we'll get on the park around about there. But I'd like to think he'll have some kind of impact when he comes on. It'd be an amazing moment. I think the celebrations would be phenomenal around the stadium, because every time he has scored so far at Celtic Park, it's been utter scenes in the stands. So a goal against them would be phenomenal to witness. But yeah, I think it will still be Kyogo will start. I think O will go on the park at some point, but it will all be dependent on what the score is at that point.
Liam, I described in the group chat that if we were to go for O and Kyogo starting, this would be like, because we're just approaching Angie's 3rd summer window now. I know he didn't get much of one at the start, but at the end of the day, it'll be his 3rd. And I compared it to if we were to start seeing Kyogo and O up top together. And I think the transfer window that may lie ahead in terms of the rock and roll nature of it, with outgoings that we didn't expect, and maybe Celtic really pushing the boat out, I think we would see a seismic change in attitude. we could be heading for the Be Here Now of Angie's tenure, the third album, where we've just went, fuck it, throw the Rolls Royce into the swimming pool and let the world know we are giving it laldy. Every song's 10 minutes long. I think there's a bit of that in this year. Is Angie's third season going to be like that Oasis third album where all the bits are off? We play two up top. Aha! He could do it the whole time. And we start seeing a different approach. And it starts tomorrow. I mean, I know it's very unlikely. But bring it on, man. If we start, I think, here, you know what, Phil's right. The noise around the stadium would be unreal if we were scored because the Seven Nation Army thing's amazing. Yeah. I think the mood around the stadium, if you've seen the starting lineup and both Owen and Kyogo in it, would just go up a few notches.
I think it would worry them as well because Connor Goldston, I mean, he just looks like a big fanny when he plays. Like he's soft, and I think that's when Giacomakis was with us, he bullied him. Connor Goldston likes to bully wee players. You see the way he knocks about Kyogo and all that, the wee odd bumps off the ball and all that. None of that shit went on when Giacomakis was out there. And I think, he's our Rolls Royce in the swimming pool, right? Enough, Bhoycie. Throw him in the middle. Let Connor Goldston worry about, looks like he's got a wee bit of a nasty streak to him as well, which I think is good. And I think that will throw them right off the game because I think he's a big pussy. And I think he just needs to be he needs to be and I think
I don't know why that was so funny. He's a big pussy. I've heard that term a million times, but it's all about delivery, Liam. That was delivered fucking brilliantly.
Yes. Yeah. Look at that haircut he has as well. That's actually yellow. It looks like he's drawn in the front of it with a black Sharpie or something. That gold. Oh. They deserve it. They deserve each other.
Oh, brilliant, Liam! That was class.
Yes.
It would be an exciting thing to do. But I think that's just me getting a wee bit excited. I don't think that is what we'll do, Liam. But by the way, it would be absolutely, I think one of those decisions that really caught the imagination. Do you know what I mean? I think if you've seen the two of them in the team before it, I think from a fan's point of view, and this isn't forget about I think for their point of view, it would throw them because they're not prepared for it, Liam. I think for our point of view, though, it just puts that spring in your step, and that's no disrespect to whether it's Iwata that starts unexpected or not unexpected, but if Iwata has to start or O'Reilly plays, it's not because we're going, these are bad players playing alongside Moy and Calmac, but it's also, it's a striker. They bring that wee bit of, excitement to the table. They do pique your interest, and it would be something that if we seen it as fans, I think to use the normal expression that I do, it would definitely tickle my balls, Liam. 100%.
You always want to see us getting better as well. And we've went and recruited better players, like, Johnson's proof of that. And he's in the team now as well, and he's making a statement. Iwata's just slowly coming into the team. I want Ange to sign players and not go back to the typical lineup that we've had all the thing where they're struggling to break into the team or they're a project. And that's me being really selfish and impatient as a fan. I want it all, right? Why not? But I think, there's a time where, okay, let's see what you've got. I watched some videos this week, and it was Kyogo when he was playing with his Japanese team, and he was playing with that Brazilian striker, Douglas. And somebody was showing a video of how Kyogo's movement was opening up space and all that, and it was giving defenders fits. And he was taking two guys out to play, and Douglas was getting the ball in free space and just tucking it away. And that looked good. It was like, wow, okay. And I was excited seeing that because then I could see Kyogo and O playing like that, bit of bash, bit of smash, bashy and smashy up front.
This is great.
What's in the other smashing the back of the net?
I love it, mate. I love it. But you're right, though. I'll finish. I'll round up this one on that. But I also think the thing is with Kyogo. Remember, Ange suggested a wee bit of frustration, lads. About Kyogo's runs not finding someone. But I think a lot of Kyogo's runs are based on if you've got a partner,
Aye.
boom, that's how it works. So I wonder if, again, I think long term, there is anyone who thinks Ange can only play one way. They definitely haven't been paying attention. I think they underestimate the manager when they say that. They think I underestimate him by saying he could play two up top. I'm like, no, I just don't think he's just that, that one, single-minded that he can only do one-dimensional. That's what I was looking for. He can only do one thing. But Connor, I'll come to you. Now, another wee story that's kind of came out, and we know, unfortunately, this year, every game will be asterisked with VAR this season. A lot of them not in Celtic's favour, but I kind of, without being Nostradamus, kind of forecasted this season was going to be like this. I think most folk could, to be fair, but I said, look, this is going to be week on week. We are going to be talking about VAR. It might even get Player of the Year. Do you know what I mean? Because it's been that many goal involvements. Do you know what I mean? Right. What we've seen in the news has been, and Gary Brown came in with this ages ago. So cheers, Gary, for your comment at 9:15. It's been half an hour ago. We will get round to as many as we can. And he says, what about Walker hearing the VAR guy to take the easy way out to get, take the easy way to get out of it? What's your thoughts on that? Brown Warriors kind of joined in. We get loads of comments that are kind of marriaging up here. He says, question, why does the TV company have access to VAR conversations and the clubs who it affects don't? That needs answering by the SFA and the SPFL. I think Gary Brown and Brown Warrior both have a valid point there, Connor. What was your sort of reaction to that? Because I think Andy Walker's got a responsibility in the media to try and stay relevant. So he knows when he drops that sort of a story, he gets loads of articles and column inches and websites and articles and stuff, and it keeps him in the limelight. Because it wasn't really all that much in it with what he's saying. It's not a direct quote. It's Andy Walker overhearing or listening in. Apparently they've got access to listening. But he doesn't give much more context to it than that, because he's got to be vague about, I can't say the parties involved. I can't say the match it was. All I'm saying is there was a decision made. What decision, Andy? Can't say what decision it was, but there was a decision made where they were told to take the easy way out. What do you make of all this, Connor?
Obviously, I think we're trying to piece together a whole story while only using a couple of phrases in a paragraph, if that makes sense. There's so many details missing out of this story, but there's obviously one there. I don't know why a TV company, if the story is to be true, I didn't give these rags the satisfaction when I seen the article headlines pop up on my timeline. I didn't give them the satisfaction of clicking them and reading them, because I didn't know if it was going to be a lot of shite or if they were just going to be, pulling the supporters' legs or whatever. Because I don't like reading, the Daily Record or the Sun or any or Sports Scotland and that shit, because I don't like necessarily what they bring out and what they say. But no, it's a and look, Andy Walker is like, I hate Andy Walker. I hate Andy Walker so much. I hate him so much. Every time he's on commentary, I'm screaming at the TV. 9 times out of 10, I'll scream more about the shit Andy Walker's coming away with more than I do the decisions on the pitch, because he just comes out with these asinine comments that make zero fucking sense. You wouldn't know he used to play for Celtic, and you also wouldn't know the fact that he's meant to be, an unbiased commentary guy who knows a lot about football, who should know more about football than the average punter. But he doesn't put that across with what he says. But no,
let's focus on what. Let's try and focus on what was actually happening. Do you know what I mean?
It's really weird. We knew going into this season the VAR was going to be swimming in some, muddy waters, and then those muddy waters turned out not to be brown, they turned out to be orange. But we knew it was going to be really strange, and there was going to be some mad chicanery in it. And I think this kind of just almost backs up the fears and the reservations that a lot of the support have about VAR. And, you look at the decisions that are getting made, whether it's offsides or penalty calls, for instance, the penalty we got against Morton was never a penalty. I was disgusted by it. It was absolutely terrible. It was a shocking decision. poor Effie Ambrose, man. But you know, just seeing apparently they're taking the easy way out. You're like, what?
You remember what the point was, Dave? Fucking hell.
Why would you do
Get
this?
there,
Why would you
mate.
not make the correct decision? If you have been trained to do this for months, if you've been trained to use the equipment, if you're trained to make the right calls, if you've been trained to be a referee for years, you should know the rules inside and out like the back of your hand. You should know what they are. VAR has been a tool that has been used for years now. It's like just came into our league, but it's been used by other leagues previously for a good few years now. It shouldn't be as difficult as what it is. You know, it should be pretty cut and dry, and yet we're going week by week by week and having more articles and more controversy with regards to VAR. And until we find out what is going on with it and why we don't have the proper people to do the jobs, then I feel like every team in this league is going to suffer, and that's us, that's Rangers, that's everywhere else.
Phil, the point I was more getting at, which I probably didn't articulate very well, in fairness, was, do you find it surprising that in a studio they actually are privy to how the decision making comes out? And here's a wee interesting take I've got now on this. Is that also reciprocated then from the VAR van or caravan, whatever they're sitting in? Woof woof. Are they sitting there listening and potentially not necessarily because they're told to, but inadvertently are influenced when you hear voices of of opinion on something? Is this a two-way street? So when the VAR are watching the game, are they that inept? Because all they should have is the game, no crowd noises, just the game on, watching it. They shouldn't be here. The beauty of VAR is the crowd can't influence it. Right? So it's not, we've said before, you can't get a penalty at Ibrox, yada yada, because 50,000, watch your voice, what you say, Russell, right? Anyway, there's 50,000 fans there and they put too much pressure on, right? Yeah. Okay. When you're in VAR, surely it is meant to be solitary, your eyes that make the call. Now, the thing I take away from, if there has been this access in the studio, it doesn't seem to have been common knowledge, right? That the Sky Studio pundits have had this access, have been able to go, well, I know how they came up with the decision, how they came up, because look at some of their reactions over the past, 10 months since it's been in, 8 months, whatever it's been. They seem to go, oh, I really don't understand how they've arrived at this call. But if they've been able to hear it, that changes everything. Now, I happen to think, for some reason, Phil, Walker's telling the truth, that he has heard.
Yeah.
He has definitely heard this conversation. He's had access to it. But what it concerns me is, surely this is not some sort of two-way street where, not because I know people are going to say Sky have influence over the game. Don't be so ridiculous. But I also think the refs and the officials are that inept. If they can hear the opinions of the pundits live and thinking, that's not a handball, I wouldn't give that as a handball, could that stray them or lead them in a direction? Probably. I don't think that's because that's what they're trying to do, but it worries me if there's a two-way sort of a path of communication, not directly talking to each other, but they're both sort of listening to each other. And for me, it should be the studio guess how VAR came up to the decisions as much as anyone did, until it becomes a transparent audio for all of us to hear, and it's public record. I also just get this mad feeling that tells me they're listening to, Crocker and whoever else is beside him when it's coming to actually arriving at a decision. And that really worries me, because that's not what they're paid to do. They're paid to use their eyes and make these decisions without fear, without favour, and without outside influence. It's meant to be the beauty of VAR, is it not?
This is just my opinion on it. I know you're talking about two-way communication. I don't think it's two-way, but the Sky team do get to get in, because when VAR was brought in, I did hear it mentioned somewhere that the commentators do get some sort of inkling of what's getting investigated, so they can communicate it to the audience watching on TV. Because I know that in England, when there's a VAR decision getting made, they'll cross over to that. Jeff Shreves is usually the touchline reporter, like Martin Tyler will say, oh, Jeff, what are they investigating here? And he'll be like, oh, it's a potential handball and stuff before it came up on the screen.
It's not their dialogue.
What's that?
It's not their dialogue though, whilst they're debating the call.
Yeah, but I'm just talking
Andy
about,
Walker's referring to hearing what
Yeah.
the VAR team were saying directly to the ref, not what the ref
Yeah.
was saying to them. It just worries me that these guys, they're all too aware of each other.
Yeah, what was when it was in England, I think they do it the right way. But up here, it seems like the commentators are getting too much direct information. I say they've got a touchline reporter in the English Premier League that tells you, but up here it seems to be the commentators. Because when you think about it, if you've watched any game live on Sky, Scottish ones, whether it's Ian Crocker, Andy Walker, Ali McCoy-Silver's there with them, they're usually communicating with the TV audience before over they're looking at a potential handball here. So somebody is in their ear telling them that. And it sounds to me like they're giving them too much information and they have somewhere overheard. Andy Walker's overheard. Now, I find it interesting, the timing of it as well. If he's known this information, why come out now and be so coy about it? And it's like, come on, man, you can't just throw that out there and just think, oh, nobody else will bat an eyelid. No, you can't just walk away and don't give us any more information. Very, very strange timing and very, very odd the way he's done it. But yeah, as far as I know, in other countries that do VAR right, there is communication, but it looks like with Scotland, they're not doing it totally right. And it seems like the commentators are hearing more than they should. But I don't think the commentators or the pundits are influencing them back the way. I just think it's a case of the audio's just been set up wrong and they're hearing more than need to. But that does still worry me that if he's overheard the commentator saying, take the easy way out, it just, again, shines a light on how incompetent they are.
Phil, was his language, though, that he overheard it or he was actually party to the conversation? That's the
Overheard,
difference.
as far as I know, is what he said. Did he actually say, I was part of the conversation?
I was not part of the conversation, but party to it, as in we hear So he said that he doesn't hear the referee on the park. He can't hear them.
BR studio,
but he can hear. The impression I got when I read it was he hears everything that the fourth official's saying to the ref. I'm sorry, that's the decision-making process. Then he's party to. That ain't right.
No, it's not.
It should be the ref going, there's an offside we're checking. Thumbs up, let the viewers know. Back to, it doesn't mean you get to hear the rest of the conversation they're having. And I don't think Andy Walker was throw himself under the bus if that wasn't something Sky had access to. Why on earth would he put his own job in jeopardy?
Yes. It's been a strange turn of events. It has. You're right. Why would he throw it out there? I say timing is very, very strange on this one. But I don't think Sky are having influence back the way, but it is worrying that they're having too much. They're hearing far too much. And as I say, it just again highlights the incompetence. And again, as Connor was saying, for all the people who had a wee bit of fear and a bit of paranoia about it, that's not really going to help much. Again, it's like they're putting themselves in that position, the SFA, the SPFL, whoever it is that runs it, allowing that to get out there. It's like, well, they've got to do some sort of damage control now and try and figure out how they calm this down, because in the wake of this fixture as well, for that to come out, that's not going to help anybody at all. So they've got to find some way to clarify exactly what was said, and there needs to be a lot more transparency going forward of what exactly is getting passed around, what information is going between, commentators, pundits, the referees. It's just another shit show in Scottish football. What a surprise.
I know, mate. I know. Liam, where do you tend to lie on? Let's go down Phil's avenue of the timing. Now, I don't know. I think Steve-O said in the comments, good to have you on the bus, Steve-O, Matt, as always, mate. And I think he was saying in the comments, it feels recently like Andy Walker has been making shall we say, a more concentrated effort to get the Celtic fans back on side. Has he been more of a Tim recently? Do you think he would release this comment from, maybe he's trying to do it from a Tim's perspective? He's trying to go, look, let's focus on, these VAR decisions and make sure there's no easy way out decision taken. And if Connor Goldson is playing volleyball will be the decision that's given and we'll get a penalty, not just an easy way out.
I mean, the timing right now. Andy Walker wants resurrection. It's Easter weekend. You know, it's time. You know, if he wants to be adored.
Very good.
I've never liked Andy Walker since the minute I saw him on the telly. You know, even the second stint at Celtic, I used to, they take off Van Hooijdonk and what do you call it? Van Hooijdonk and Andy Walker be coming on. I just off. You know, that's the game's done now. You know, because he offered absolutely nothing in his last spell. And right now, as a pundit as well, I don't know what he's trying to do with it. I mean, if he was going to do it, like, be brave, come out and name names. The whole thing right now, you're complaining about an organisation that's not telling you, that's keeping everything in secrecy. There's no transparency and virtually no communication. So Andy Walker comes out with a story with no people involved, no clubs involved, no names, no nothing, no even any details other than he heard something the week before a big match. And I think that's him just being Andy Walker and trying to get himself into the limelight. Now, I heard Sky's came out. I saw a wee flash today online. Sky came out and I've apologised for his comments.
Well, exactly. Because, yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the thing. It's to go down that avenue is pretty risky when you're one of the key players of the broadcaster. So,
aye,
that was the bus.
Aye.
Boop, boop. But I mean, I wonder. I don't know. I think it's easy to always slam Andy Walker all the time, right? And I get that. I wonder if this time he's went. I think someone said it in the comments earlier. He's went off page. And this time, like, he's doing it from a Celtic's perspective to ramp up the pressure. Anyway, we'll move on. It's been a hot topic recently the last couple of days, and I thought it was worth bringing up. Liam, I'll come straight back to you. Jim Dolan came in. Again, he was 45 minutes ago with this. I am doing my best. And thanks for all the comments that come in. It's what makes the T.N.F. the Thursday night forum itself. Liam, it's a wee bit of naughtiness, it's a wee bit of mischief making. Connor will be licking his lips right now. He'll love to come in next on this. Do you think we could see Beale's coat on a sugary nail when we hump them on Saturday? Jim Dolan says, whilst I'm confident we'll get a win, I always am since his first Celtic Rangers game. I've been pretty confident since then that we've got the beating of them. Do you think you would see the Mickey Beale narrative change, as it were?
I don't know. Don't know it. I mean, they don't have any more sugary pegs. If they get any more coats to hang on, this one has to work for them. I don't think they can afford to rebuild again. They have to invest everything into Mickey Beale as they can, and they'll see what they want to see. If we get beat, it'll be okay. It'll be the restructuring in the summer. It was like, Giovanni lost the league. It wasn't Mickey. I really don't know. I don't think they'll do anything. I think they'll still stay with him. Some of them might turn on him, but it'll not be this game. If they lose the one at Ibrox, I think they'll definitely turn on him at that point. But right now, I think they're too thick. They like it. Be chirpy chappy,
Connor, he's talked the talk. He's still to walk the walk. But could he be walking away? That's the question that has came in on the forum. Is he going to be on a sugary peg if we were, for Jim Dolan, if we were to get the doing that we all think is feasible that we can? We're confident we can because we believe in this team that we've built. I mean, if we were to be, I tend to agree with Liam. I don't know how many more options they've got to go to. I think they would need to just stick with him. But I said this when he took over, and I felt after the first few games, I thought, oh wow, he's doing a lot of mouthing off just now. Do you know what I mean? I went, at the end of the day, come the end of this season, he'll have been in charge 23 of the 38 games and 3 out of the 4 derbies. That mood shift will occur once people start joining the dots. If the end of the season were to arrive and he is double digits in points behind, if he doesn't lift a trophy, and it all rides on now what he does against us for both, one of them being extremely unlikely already. Do you think it could be realistic that they could turn on him? They would need a hand of the media to do so as well, wouldn't they?
I don't know. Like, I was wrong last time. I thought there was no way they would sack Gio because I didn't think they had, the capital to do so. But, Rangers' pockets seem to be surprisingly deep when it comes to, getting done what they need to get done. But no, I think with Beale, Rangers have kind of shielded themselves for the rain with Mickey Beale's Del Boy coat, and if they get rid of him, they'll have to go and cover themselves with the Warburton's bread wrappers, because it's going to eventually reach they're going to be a last gasp saloon. No, I think the media pressure and the scrutiny will certainly ramp up if he was to take a doing off us Saturday, lose the semi-final, and then lose to us at Ibrox or not beat us, because of the mouthing off as well. The thing with Gio was they never obviously clamped down on anything he really said. They just clamped down on his results. But Beale, well, he's been getting decent results against, the dross in the league. And let's be honest, it's not really... I know I love Scottish football as much as the next guy, but there's nothing to be swinging for the trees and singing for the rooftops about beating the dross in this league, considering Rangers and Celtic are the only two teams throughout all of Scottish football in the Prem, the only two teams from the Premiership which are in the top scorer charts. The rest of the top scorer charts are teams for the Championship, League One and the Lowland League, which I think goes to say about how bad the rest of the league really is this year. It's kind of an embarrassment. But no, with Beale, I think they've kind of got to just stick with him now and see where things go. I think, it doesn't look good if they go through 3 managers in the space of 2 seasons or 2 and a bit seasons. It's hard to pinpoint because where would they go? Would they get Gerrard back in, and then he's an absolute jobber as well?
I don't care who they bring in. I think we need to focus on the here and now. Like, I mean, with the pressure, if we take Pato's point on board, Phil, Beale would be under tremendous pressure will be under tremendous pressure from the fans to pick Campbell and Raskin over Lundstram and Kamara. As they say, Beale's selection actually cost them the final, which I think we can all kind of laugh at. That's not quite what cost him. His execution of his game plan was embarrassing. The amount of hoofs we seen up the park that day was ridiculous. The reality is Celtic will overrun that new midfield Pato feels. I mean, team selection is one thing. I think what we can all agree on is, see, after the League Cup final, I didn't expect him to get the heat that he did. And as I've always admit, I listen to the phone-ins and all that. I'm a sad little man, do you know what I mean? I cook my dinner and that's what's on in the background, do you know what I mean, after my shift. I was surprised. I thought he was... Because I think it was on the Endless Celts. I heard Stephen Tomlinson say he felt the media were actually giving more of a loving to Beale than they even gave to Gerrard. He went off. In fact, he goes, considering he's done nothing in the game as a player, nothing in the game as a manager, he'd never heard of anyone get that sort of a loving. Yet we found ourselves in a place where he was this messiah, but the fans themselves seem to turn pretty quick. I think there is an argument that he will be under pressure if the cuffing that we hope were to be dished out.
Be under pressure from the fan base over there, definitely. I don't know if the board over there would. I think they would stick with him because he's a cheap option, and I think they wouldn't take any action. But the fans would certainly, make their voices heard. Whether their board would actually listen to them, say that's not really our concern. That is what it is. But with the Beale stuff, it is weird how he is treated as some kind of messiah. It is bizarre. The guy's got nothing on his CV at all. Absolute diddly squat. And see, when they're talking about there with like the team selection stuff like that, I mean, I saw all the reactions with the Cantwell and the Raskin thing. You go on Twitter, you see all the screen grabs of Celtic fans that have infiltrated follow.com, and you see some of the stuff they're saying. And one in particular, which is incredible, they're saying how Aaron Moy's a fraud because he was invisible after Raskin and Cantwell came on. It's like, because he got subbed off a minute before they did come on. That's why he was invisible, you clowns. So that's when they say things like, if we play Raskin and Cantwell, we'll win. And they're based on things like that. It's like, that's why you can't take them seriously. If he does play they two at the weekend, right, and we still beat them, then where does that leave them in terms of that? What's the next harebrained theory that they're going to come up with. Oh, if we play this, if we do this, we'll beat them in this. We're a better team. They base it on literally nothing at all. They haven't got like, you know, the track record at the moment to be saying things like that. So again, you know, with that point about, oh, if we play Cantwell and Raskin, oh, we'll beat them. It's, say if that goes Pete Tong, what then? So they'll have no choice but to turn on him at that point. No choice at all. But it's bizarre that he keeps getting a free pass. That what William was saying earlier on as well. I think if he loses this one on Saturday, there will be some fans will turn against. But I think if they lose the cup semi-final, that's the one that's really, because the whole highlight of their season now is potentially stopping us winning a treble. That is literally the highlight of their season. So the idea of us winning a treble is giving them the fear. So that is the game that will really, really matter to them. And if they don't stop us there, then yeah, they'll be at the doors of Ibrox with the pitchforks out.
At least they've not got any metal sharks, because that is what you've got to use now. That's it, just past the hour. We'll do one more. I will bring up Scott Cameron's. Cheers as always, Scott, for being on the bus. He's talking about Sakala's pace. I'll be honest, I'm not going to go into it because I spoke about it already yesterday morning with Johnny Logue on the Breakfast Bar. You can catch up on the channel. I think he's been our most dangerous player. That's about all I'm going to say. He's been their most dangerous player, the biggest threat to us. Is he someone that we should be keeping an eye on, and how do we combat it?
Well, he's coming down the wing right now where we think that's probably where we're most vulnerable. When we played against them last time, you know, the reason...
You definitely do.
Oh, I know. I definitely... I mean, I want to see wee Burnaby in there and do well. You know, I think he showed up in the last game. He's going in with a bit of momentum. He's looking good, but... Does Kobayashi, you know, play left back as well? I mean, I don't know if he could.
Yeah, left-footed. He's definitely left-footed.
Yeah,
but he's left-sided, and I'm not sure what he's like pace-wise. Every time I've seen him, he looks absolutely solid. Could that be one of the surprises that we see being thrown in there to sort of negate the pace of Sakala? The other thing that could have been interesting, if Hatate is fit, do you throw Hatate back in that place? If we don't have the confidence in Bernabeu, you know, and Hatate's fit, do you put him back there and see if he can have the same game that he had on the side of the park he's familiar with than he did when we put him at right back for that one game where he was man of the match?
He was the best right back in Scotland.
Scored twice that day.
Did he play twice? Did he score twice and play 2 games there?
He played against it was the St Johnstone Boxing Day game where we were the away kit home, but I think he scored twice that day. I don't know if he'd played another game after that at right back, but that day, 2 goals to right back. Amazing.
We were just waiting on Johnson coming, getting fit at that point. I think I don't know if he'd arrived yet, but you know, so I don't know. There's opportunities, but Sakala, he's been a problem. He burned Greg Taylor for pace, and that's what caused a lot of that Carl Starfelt commotion that, you know, came to the penalty. You know, he just turned Greg Taylor, and they've always looked dangerous down that side, but that's when they've got the ball, you know, and that's when they're building up for midfield. And I don't know. I hope we can completely dominate them in the midfield again. I'm worried if Hatate's not there that we might be a wee bit slow. I've not seen enough of what they've got in the midfield. Cantwell's a midfielder, right? He's they play him in the midfield, and I don't know. I think I'm looking forward to see that bubble burst on Saturday as well. Whereas, you know, like every time they talk up a big player and then they come out and they have an absolute dud against us, I'm looking forward to that. Or somebody just absolutely clowning them about, you know, dragging them out of the place, or just getting subbed off at half time or that. But yeah, Sakala, I don't know. I think he's okay. I think he's better at causing trouble than he is being an exceptionally gifted player and changing a game by himself. He'll give us trouble, and you know, I'll look for him to get falling down every single time he's touched, and then trying to float in free kicks from that area where Hatate plays in that. I've seen enough really bad disturbing trend this season. Anytime a forward Celtic player even puts a shoulder on a defender, those defenders are collapsing like fucking, you know, an IKEA wardrobe, right? Just hitting the deck and absolutely nothing by other. You know, and getting awarded free kicks, but absolutely nothing. You know, like nothing, not even a clatter, it just seems to be like a go-to now with Scottish referees. Anybody puts any pressure on a defender, they go down and you get a free kick. And I'm worried about them. I think when they're floating free kicks into the box, that's where I think they're dangerous, you know, much more than Sakala running at us.
Well, enough of their dangers, Connor. It is that time because tomorrow is Bustalgia night, a retrospective look at all things Celtic Rangers. I will be on it, by the way, Phil. Don't worry, I've changed my plans.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll be on it.
No worries.
I will be.
Aye.
I should just make it back in time.
No worries.
Obviously, the commute to Dunfermline is difficult, but I've worked it out that I should be
There's not a
able to
lot of
make
homework involved this week. Just get your scalpers 11 written down. That's all you
just
need.
ranting and raving about the scalpers. Right, that's fine. I'll come up with that. Connor, before you, because we know you won't be on until the game now, we've got to start going down that road of predictions. Obviously, I do want a scoreline, but you can give us a wee bit of backdrop as to why as well.
Scoreline, I'm going to go with 4-0. I'm going to say that Kyogo's going to score first. I think Jota is going to have a good game. He's going to score as well. I'm going to say my beloved lumberjack, Ali Johnston, is going to score a header from a corner.
Nice.
And I'm going to say that Big O is going to come on and fling their players about like empty tracksuits and score an absolute belter on the top of the onion bag. So that's my prediction.
What was the final score there? Sorry, I lost count.
4-0.
4-0. Unlike Connor to be ambitious about it. Phil McGinley, talk me through how you see it panning out. And a big thank you, David McMenemy, as well, for the £5 donation. Sorry. Thank you, as always, to anyone who does that. We do appreciate it. Thanks.
We do indeed. I will go for 3-0 to Celtic. Goal scorer wise, I think Yogo will continue his good run. He's on a good bit of form against them after getting an unwanted tag of that guy that will never score against him. But no, he's obviously 3 in his last 2 against them. So he's on a good run. I can see Kyogo getting on the end of one of those low-driven crosses again. And here's a shocker for you. Here's a surprise. I think Aaron Moy will tuck a penalty away if he plays. I think we'll get a penalty in this game. There you go.
Oh, Phil, I love it. Craig Hayes just dove in. He's donated a £5 as well. Craig, thanks so much, because I know your battery was dying. He actually told us, he was, could you speed up the chat, guys? I've got 12% battery left. I think that's the politest way we've ever been chased off the airwaves. Usually just get talking shite, Liam, don't we? Okay. Liam, what you thinking, big man? Because that's quite interesting for Phil. You know, that would be a turn up for the books, but of course, it'd be in one of the least meaningful derbies. But I get where he's coming from.
That's what I'm thinking.
I can tell, mate. I can see that. Liam, talk to me how this game goes.
Easter weekend, I'm going for the Holy Trinity. 3-0. I agree with Phil. We'll probably have 3-0 and we'll have 3 disallowed as well. But that's my prediction. 3-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's shite part of it. I'm completely on the 3-0 bandwagon as well. I hope it's Connor's prediction. I hope we're all wrong. Absolutely, but I've got that feeling it'll be 3-0. I don't think we'll put them to the sword. I think Graham Bell, thank you so much, mate. Really, really kind. $4.99. I appreciate it, mate. It's all appreciated in the bus. We know we talk shite. For anyone to be kind enough to keep the wheels in the bus, we are very grateful, and it does help massively. But yeah, I think 3-0 as well. I don't know why. I think Celtic's conversion rate of chances of late has went down. I still think we create them though, and I still think we bring a hell of a lot of problems to Rangers. And I think we've now got the many ways to skin a cat that I was always hoping we would have. I felt Giakoumakis brought that. I think O brings a completely new conundrum for them to deal with that they've not quite tasted yet. And I think he will get substantial game time at the weekend. For whatever reason, because he's a bona fide Ange signing, I think, and I don't think Giakoumakis was, I think that leans Ange more to giving where Giakoumakis will get 10 minutes, O will get 20. Where Giakoumakis gets 15 minutes, we'd get 30 and so on. So I think he will get substantial game time. I think he will come on, and when he comes on, we'll go from a 1-0 game to 2 goals late in the last 20 minutes of the game. I don't know if he'll score. I hope he does. But I definitely think it'll be one of those ones where we'll be 1-0 dominating, and it'll start just turning into a bit pissed off here. Do you know what I mean? They could get that fucking draw that they'll be dancing in the streets if they get a point, remember. The gap's closed, the gap's not as big, the gap. That's all they care about, is closing a fucking gap that they can't close. It's mental. I think it will then come the last 20 minutes when you see Celtic's team, and this is we're going to see the new phase 2 of Celtic really in full flow, or phase 3, if you want to call it that. And you'll see that Ange, once he got not just his first 11 sorted, he got his first 18 sorted, and he's bought 15 out of the 6, or 15 or 16 out of that 18. You'll see that he's got a few different ways to play, and I think we'll see a different style in the last 20 minutes, and we'll wore them out, we'll tire them out of the possession, we'll not have took our chances as much, and then I think the game will change once O comes on. And if he's to score, even better. I would love to share your optimism. We get a penalty, Phil. And I get your logic. I can't say I do. One guy, though, out of the 3 that I do think will score again in this fixture will be Jota. On that note, though, how exciting is it? I love the hype train. The league title. Get the ribbons out. Get the bunting out. And it won't be for the coronation. TikTok.
When you've all that stuff at the start, they won't be playing Tina Turner on the coach on the way home, will they?
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan. He's a Rangers puppet. He's a cheerleader. That's what he is.